Good evening, my friend. Real quick audio check. Make sure you guys can hear me clearly. All right, let's see. We're gonna remove this from studio. Got my coffee going. Got my Chronicon ready on the side here. Mmm, sounds great. Hey, Jamie Robbins. It's good to see you passing through Texas, man. Real good to see you. An hour ago, I brought Dawn home from the hospital. So she's tucked in at home. I think she's in the chat. We'll see. Yeah, for those who are curious, I have her permission. I talked to her about it, but we went to a really nice restaurant with her family about seven and a half months ago, and this is what it all stemmed from. We thought it was an Asian restaurant where she had eaten some raw fish, and then they gave her Cipro, which is an antibiotic that literally killed all the beneficial bacteria in her body and started other medical problems. She's a trooper. She went on the road trips to North Carolina to San Diego, and she was just medicated and dealing with pain pills and antibiotics. And come to find out, after all this time, she just had a real bad spell about 5 days ago, and this is after about 2 weeks of just not feeling good at all. And she's supposed to get surgery to correct what this Cipro did to her. And anyway, I don't want to give you too many details, but come to find out, it was not the Asian restaurant that we went to with a friend of ours named Cole, who moved from Alaska to Texas recently. And it was a real fancy, very nice restaurant right here in town that had some bad chicken. And we now know it's the chicken because there are 4, 5, or 6 strains of E. coli that are rampant all throughout the United States. She got the worst one. She got one that is absolutely antibiotic resistant. So, but it was misdiagnosed. They thought it was a different strain of E. coli because they didn't even check to see with a lab which strain she had. And the one strain that she was diagnosed with 4 days ago was the only one you get from chicken. As soon as the hospital staff knew what they were dealing with and did a so they put a scope and looked at her throat and all this damage that had been done to her, they instantly put her on 2 different medicines, and within 48 hours she was moving around, laughing, joking, eating, when before she couldn't even sip water without throwing up. Yeah, she was throwing up for 4 days solid. And she's a trooper, but you know what, not too smart sometimes when it comes to taking care of herself, because she was still thinking that she didn't need to go to the hospital. And I'm not one to force a situation, so I called somebody who did. I called her best friend over here, and she's no nonsense either. And she got that woman in the hospital quick. So that's what happened. That's what happened. It all started from eating bad chicken. They gave her the wrong antibiotics twice. Yeah, then it caused something that can only then it caused something called a fistula that can only be corrected by surgery. All started behind this incident. So we may have some lawsuits in the future. Oh, we got a pretty good attorney. I mean, you guys know, since I started Archaics TV, I have multiple. She doesn't like me talking about it. I'm not. You guys know I'm just not going to say anymore. But when it comes to finances, I'm not hurting at all, at all. So we may be looking at a nice little settlement here, because everything from ground zero was done wrong, and it almost killed her twice. Hello, Rayad, Face Diaper, Jahara Lee. You and Nanny Puffins, y'all are official Archaics hit girls. That's for sure. Listen, guys, you know, you know, it is my character to be respectful. I follow the Bible as much as I can. I don't believe. I mean, you already know where my position is. I know most of it's all redacted, borrowed materials. some spiritual material in there as well. But there is a passage in the Bible that says, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. And this is what I try to do. Now, you want to show your support for Archaics, and I get that. And many of you appeared in Billy Carson's chat. So that's fine too, because a lot of his people, they need to wake up. Because if he's not going to wake them up, I promise you I am. But it needs to be done with the utmost respect, because many of you used to be on other channels until you came into contact with somebody who shared a video from Archaics, and then you came over and you started listening to the presentations and you realized, damn, I fell for all the rumors. Once I started paying attention to Jason, I got it. It clicked. And this is how we grow. Listen, I may be aggressive in some of my presentations, but that's only because I have faced unfair dismissal from a lot of people. And I promise you, they're going to regret that. There is nothing but growth and the accrual of more people, support, and power. I'm telling you, once something new is introduced into the world, there's no killing it. This is the entire history of the world, is one of the absorption of new data. And it is always met with resistance. And I've been met with resistance for 3.5 years, and that's okay. But that's only my YouTube career. I've been in this game since 2006, been researching 20 years before that. I'm a 50-year-old man. I became a professional in the game of chronology in 2006, and I haven't stopped. Unleashed so many books. I have so many books published now. But when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to this some people, and I'm never afraid of naming anyone. I'm naming Billy Carson. After that last video he put out, I see him in a whole different light. Yeah, I didn't know I was dealing with somebody who was so petulant, someone who actually believed that millionaire status actually confers on you social respect, that you actually believe that you are more intellectually valuable to the community than you actually are. And now that I understand what I'm dealing with, I'm going to handle it a little bit differently. But this goes deeper, guys. This isn't some grind between me and Billy Carson. I promise you, he wishes I would just go away. This isn't something we agreed to do. Oh yeah, this is something that came in because he wrote a book. I'm a published author too. So I'm offended when I see these books I get on Amazon. You guys know I have several books on Amazon. I don't have a lot of star reviews and all that. I got hundreds for each book, but I don't have a lot. Not like some of these authors. But then again, I wouldn't. Why? Because I personally autograph all my books and I sell them from home. So they never get all the Amazon reviews that I should have. But that's okay. I don't need Amazon clout. I don't need any of that. What I have are data sets. And I'm telling you now, Billy Carson is only the first of many who you are going to see capitulate. It doesn't matter if somebody doesn't officially say, Jason, I'm not going to debate you, and for whatever reason, none of that matters. None of that matters. Once it is very obvious to a community that somebody has been put on notice and that they know they've been called out, like Graham Hancock, I got over 30 emails proving to me that man knows who I am. Yeah, many people have contacted him about me. So yeah, and Billy Carson releasing that god awful childish. I can't even believe it. I had to watch it twice. I watched it a second time with Dawn. I was like, oh my God. This dude was on the beach. Does he understand what he sounds like to the whole community? Does he realize that a lot of people outside of the community, a community that has fallen for his tactics, and they accept what he says at face value? Do people outside that context are going to hear this video? This is a narcissistic rant that is so toxic that we're gonna get to the bottom of it. As simple as that. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, you got a really interesting video. I'm gonna open you guys' minds up. Listen, man. These guys that call themselves Truther Community and all that. Listen, I'm telling you, in 2024, there's going to be a lot of people hating me, but I'm not gonna get any opposition. All I'm gonna get is mudslinging. That's all it is. Data sets don't need anything other than an intelligent community who can look at the material and act as trier of fact. That's all data sets need. They don't need Jason. They don't need Jason's personality. What I have done is more damage than I could ever personally do because I give away my data for free. Long PDF data sets where you guys download. I know you download. I know they've been downloaded into the thousands because my Podia account tells me how many downloads for each one of my data sets that I release. I know. So it doesn't matter whatever happens to me. It doesn't matter if I ever become super popular. None of that matters. What matters is the community has been educated. And like anything that is introduced new into the field, it's like a seed. And it doesn't matter how much money anybody has. You can't stop the tide. There will always come a tipping point. This huge community, and you have to understand it's big. The tendrils go everywhere. But I have been invited to the Conscious Life Expo. The top people at the Conscious Life Expo asked me to come and speak. I told them no, because it would identify me with a whole host of people that I intend to humble. It's as simple as that. There's no backup in me, and there never will be. This is, I told you guys before, this is the time that things need to come to the light. It needs to be done now. These communities are infested with absolutely erroneous data, misinformation. I don't give a damn if you get rich writing about Mary Poppins, but if you think I'm going to be quiet while you're getting rich writing about chronological things that are absolutely anachronistic and easily proven, you got another thing coming. You're going to be embarrassed just like you're embarrassed right now. Yeah, this is going way beyond Billy Carson. There are people that interviewed Billy Carson on their platforms that I will be reaching out to. I also have friends in high places that will also be asking these people, how come you haven't interviewed Jason of Archaics? Billy Carson was interviewed and was allowed to say all these things. Graham Hancock was interviewed and allowed to say all these things. But Jason of Archaics has widely published data sets that have been given for free that overturn these. And yet both Graham Hancock and Billy Carson have huddled in the corner quietly. Why? People in 2024 are going to start asking questions. How do I know? Because I'm going to induce them to. That's how I know. Yeah, they're going to have to do something about the Archaics data. They're not going to be able to ignore it. It's simple as that. Conscious Life Expo, I'll never participate because of all the shills that they have every year. Where is it, Los Angeles or wherever? I can't remember where it was going to be this year. But yeah, I'm not going. I've been invited to many of these types of events. No, because of the other attendants, I'm not going. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the last knight standing, the knight errant, the Ephesian knight. I don't care. That's where I'm going to be. And if I got people, man, they're going to go back to back with me, like my buddy Martin Leakey, like anybody else, I'm cool with that. If anybody else wants to reach out to me and say, hey, man, I really like what you're doing. I agree, man. These things need to be brought to the table. I don't know if your data sets are correct, but I'm willing to hear you. Listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But until that day comes, I'm telling you now, Archaics is at war. If you are subscribed to me and you don't like this, it would be a good time to unsubscribe. I do not need anybody's support. I have an infinite amount of energy. Remember, guys, what I've taught you over and over. We are more than we suppose ourselves to be because we are able to draw from within ourselves more than we contain. And as long as I adhere to my connection to source, there isn't a single man, collection of men, army of men, or host of organizations that could ever silence me. Not until source is ready for me to be silenced. So this is going to go far, guys. Don't think that Billy Carson is a stepping stone. He is not a destination. So stay tuned. This is going to get real interesting. Anyway, so this right here is something that we've been doing. This video is something we've been needing to do for quite a while. A lot of new people in here, but we've got Archaics veterans in here too that don't have a copy of Chronicon. Now, if there's a financial reason why you can't afford the new Chronicon, we're talking about the new Chronicon is awesome. We're going to talk about this in this video. You need to contact our Archaics help at protonmail.com. There are people in Archaics who have freely donated, and they have donated this, and we kind of put that money aside. They have freely donated, and we like to help those that we can verify that need that help. But there's many of people that can afford it because it's very affordable. It's 25 years of chronological research all put together and then edited and then edited and formatted and fact checked by a 3-man team, international team, for about 18 months. Shiva Shampoo was in on that for a good long time. And Babette spearheaded the project. Then there's a man very, very few of you know, Don Kosh. He was very heavily involved in that as well. Don Kosh has a very interesting history, a lot of connections. But these people came together on their own and they made this happen. So this video right here is about Chronicon. This is a Q&A. You can ask me whatever you want to ask me about Chronicon, and we have it right here. Chronicon is gigantic. This is when you download the Chronicon off of Podia, and then you have a print shop print it up front and back, so one page is printed on front and back, because if you don't, it's going to be this high. But when you print it on front and back in small print, this is still how big Chronicon is. It's enormous. I'm going to open it up so you can see, because I don't want you to think this is like a Billy Carson book that puts a bunch of air between the lines and spreads the words out and uses a large font so it looks like it's a bigger book than it actually is. We don't do that. Book Tree Press in San Diego, my publisher would never tolerate that. All my books are small print, wide justified margins. We try to pack as much data per page as possible. And that's what Chronicon is as well. This is it. This is Chronicon, 5239 BC, all the way to 2106 AD. Yes, we have mapped the future. Cross-calendrical parallels, all kinds of repetitive timelines, isometric projections, the prophecies of Zoroastrianism, all of Nostradamus's dated prophecies using the date index of Mario reading, all the hidden code prophecies that were found by Mario Cesare Ramati. Yeah, it's all here, guys. Chronicon is the real deal. This is the chronology of the world. 138-year Phoenix periodicities, the 972-year Nemesis X reappearances, which you know better as Nibiru. For those who are not familiar with Nemesis X, the entire chronology of the Dark Satellite, the Sumerian 7 Kings, the return of the 7 Kings in the future tribulation. It's all right here. It's in Chronicon. The entire unfolding of the Hittite Empire, the Amorite Empire, the Amuru, the Israelites, all the Israelite migrations, where they are, what nations they are today. It's all in Chronicon. All 17 of my published books, if you stripped away everything and we're left with nothing but just the chrono markers, they're all right here in Chronicon. It's gigantic, guys. It's huge. Many of you in the chat have already downloaded that PDF. PDF is huge. But originally it was a Microsoft Word document and you had to open up different portions. No, we don't have that no more. Now all those portions were opened up and notes were inserted where they were supposed to go. And now it is nothing but a long PDF download. It's long. Yeah, this is what Chronicon looks like. That's what Chronicon looks like. And it would be twice as big had I not put the print on if I wouldn't have printed on each page. So each plastic deal is one page, printed front and back. This would have been way bigger. It would have been 6 folders thick if I would have just printed on one side of the page and put two pieces of paper in each sleeve, front and back. Yeah, This is the smallest I could get. These are giant. These aren't small. Look at the size. That is a 4-inch ring. All three of these three ring binders are 4-inch rings. Doesn't look as big on camera as it is here. Chronicon's gigantic. But yeah, guys, decades sitting in prison, looking at all of my dated chronological notes with a calculator is how I synthesized 41 different and ancient and modern timekeeping systems and made all my discoveries. Remember, some of my discoveries were published way before 2012. I have a published book that explains 2012 is nothing. Mayan long count does not end in 2012. I was correct. Many authors did not survive that. They had survived 5/5/2000. Many of you don't know this, but Y2K wasn't the only major prediction in the publishing world. That was a social prediction. Many people in marketing and social media, mainstream media, were waiting on Y2K to do something in the year 2000. But in the year 2000, the research world, the publishing world were all waiting for an event on May 5th in the year 2000. Richard R. Noon published a book called 5/5/2000, Ice, the Ultimate Disaster. There's really good material in that book. I have a copy of that book. I may bring it back to the table, even though the prediction was wrong. Much of the data is really, really fantastic. But people were waiting. Y2K didn't happen. And then 5/5/2000 didn't happen. So back then I'm researching. Back then all I'm doing is data mining. I'm going through all my material and I'm putting Chronicon together. It took over 12, 13 years worth of research to put Chronicon together. And that was just the first draft. This is close to the final draft. And it's the one that a three-man team, well, 2 men and a woman, spent 18 months working on. They bet almost 2 years. So I'm yeah. So let me backpedal just a little bit. Trying to finish putting together my Archaics Academy syllabus so I can publish it so you guys can see what I'm talking about. At the same time, taking care of Dawn and going back and forth from the hospital and making sure she had everything. Things have slowed down, and I haven't been able to. There's people like Meryl. I've been needing to reach out to her. There's other people. I got emails that are unattended and packages. So you just have to understand all this kind of caught us by surprise and set us back. But the day before we took her to the hospital, we literally mailed out 40-something packages. And you guys know, I mean, you get an email every time we package. We have a computerized mailing system now. Anytime we mail a package out, you get an email instantly as soon as it's delivered to the post office. So you guys know, there's a whole bunch of you got your packages now. So just bear with us. We're about a week behind. About a week behind. But yeah, that's what Chronocon's about, guys. We have just so you'll know how the rest of the week is going to go. I got a video dropping on Archaics TV, another Tiny Hats video, but to end the month with. But we have a live video. We're going to address the Billy Carson stuff. We're going to do that in this video. But we're going to a live video because I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch this comedy. This is going to be a comedy hour. I'm going to watch. I can't understand from a professional researcher's point of view. I don't know what kind of damage control he's going to try to apply in this video. I can't even believe that he even scheduled a live video anything about Plato's Atlantis. It's almost as if Billy Carson has the arrogance that he hasn't even reviewed the freely provided data that I have put out there, the data set for everybody to see, for which tens of thousands of people in Archaics have looked at and now realize, oh shit, These people are wrong. There's no way Atlantis could be 9,600 BC, 10,000 BC, 12,000, 12,000 years BC. There's just no way. When you see the data that goes back to the century of Plato, to one of Plato's own colleagues who corrected Plato with the accurate information. You see, guys, there's been at least 50 academic scholars, major writers who never had a YouTube platform. So they were never able to educate the public and say, hey man, look, this is the truth. This is how Atlantis was 13th century BC. Well, I promise you, Jason does have that platform, and Jason will make sure that these researchers are not forgotten, because that's what I do. That's what Archaics is about, giving credit where credit is due. And a whole host of these YouTubers, they keep putting out data, acting like that data was theirs, and they did. And then when they get backed into a corner by Jason, all of a sudden they don't know what to do. They're in damage control mode. I promise you, Billy Carson's hanging on to every word. He's trying to figure out a way out, but there isn't one. He's wrong on two fundamental points, and both of these points absolutely alter the history of the world that's been put out by all these people on Gaia, all these people that speak at the Conscious Life Expo, all these people that have entertained this woo-woo version of history. Chronicon corrects all that. That's what Chronicon was designed to do, to educate the public so they know they're being bullshitted. You want to know when Atlantis was? Look in Chronicon. You want to know how the Sumerian histories truly unfolded, Anunnaki chronologies? Then look at Chronicon. Understand how the Shar was misinterpreted. And it was misinterpreted by a Greek named Berosus of Babylon. By a Greek. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. All of them cite Berosus as the source. It's just like Plato. Plato made a mistake and was corrected, but people corrected Berosus 2,000 years ago too. Yeah, and you can't keep talking about Anunnaki 48,000 years. You can't keep that's BS. Tomorrow, Billy Carson and Matt LaCroix are going into damage control mode, and they're going live on YouTube, and they're going to address this Atlantis stuff, which is only one part of their problem. They got a Shar problem too. I'm not letting go, guys, of either one of these dudes. I'm not letting go of this of either one of these concepts because I got the receipts. I've got the data. So I'm going to be curious how they try to go into damage control and spin this. And you guys are welcome to join me. Do not get disrespectful in the chat. Our case doesn't do that at all. So I'm going to be there though, and you're more than welcome to remind him in the chat over and over, and as moderators, that hey, all we're looking for is a debate. Since you're so damn confident, you know what I mean? Since you all the way up there, since that 140 keeps you separate from the rest of the human population who you claim are 70s and 75s, then you shouldn't have any problem debating a man with an 8th grade education. That's all I'm saying. So tomorrow, it's all about Billy Carson and Matt LaCroix. I am encouraging my community to go watch that video. You don't have to entertain the chat. You don't have to say anything in his chat. Just watch the video, because the very next day, I'm going to take it apart. The very next day. As a matter of fact, I'm so confident in that the live video is already set. And if they go ahead and get scared and take the video down and not do it, that's cool too. I'm still going live because I got a whole bunch of video clips that you guys need to hear what Billy Carson thinks about you. Not just archaic people who listen to Archaics, but humans in general, what Billy Carson thinks about you. I'm going to bring that to your attention. It's crazy, guys. It's absolutely crazy. All I asked for was a debate. I didn't ask for all this. All I asked for was a debate. Anyway, yeah, anybody, there's a real old saying that's real good. A man who is confident in his data is unafraid to joust with contrary opinions. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who said that. I know his initials are DD, but I can't. He's been so demonized, I can't even mention him. All right. Let's go with So when it comes to Chronicon, that's the video after tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm taking a break just to watch his video with Matt LaCroix. Day after that, I'm going back on the offensive with my own video, and it's going to be hilarious. I know, because I already got a whole bunch of video clips. It is hilarious. That's the day after tomorrow. And then, I think it's Sunday, we're going live again. I've already got it set up on YouTube. The live's already set up. We're going to go into some really interesting stuff from a book from 1897. We're going to be talking about the curse of Merodach Baladin the First, about 1320 BC. We're talking about that. All right, let's see here. Thank you, Face Diaper. All right, let's see here. Let's go in. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I will address. Somebody just asked me, my chat's going by so fast. Somebody asked me about new discoveries in the Great Pyramid and all that. Listen, guys, how in the hell are they going to find something new in the Great Pyramid? There's two problems with this scenario. I'm talking about something new discovered in the pyramid that's right there where everybody should have seen it. Because that's what they're promoting right now on YouTube. There's videos talking about, oh man, yeah, you're not going to believe this. One of the videos had a dumbass thumbnail talking about they don't want me to share this. You know how it is, man. All these marketing techniques. You don't ever see that. You will never see an archaic video thumbnail that shows like reaction to shit. Like I'm just amazed at some shit. Nah, I'm all this dumb shit. It's juvenile. But does it work? Yeah, but it works against a certain type of people. I don't want those people in archaics. I don't want you listening to my videos. But these old thumbnails, there's no way. Frederick Norton Lewis studied the hell out of the Great Pyramid in the 1700s. We've got nothing. There was nothing on that wall. Some guys claiming Alpha and Omega's on the wall and all that. Listen, I don't know. Don't quote me. Somebody said it was somebody named Grant that was making these claims. Maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. I'm going to look into it later. Right now, I'm kind of wrapped up in other things, but I'm going to look into it later. But if Amianus Marcellinus didn't see it, and if in 1837 Colonel Howard Weiss, Humphreys Brewer, and over 30 engineers and explorers, all under Colonel Howard Weiss, they went through everything in the Davidson chambers, relieving chambers, and the King's chamber, as far as they could in the shafts, the Queen's chamber. They studied everything. They washed walls. They were trying to find anything. They washed the walls because they were looking for hidden seams. Because in the Great Pyramid, some of the seams are so close together you can't fit razor blades in them. So they were looking for any evidence of tunnels and all that. How in the hell is somebody all of a sudden going to find something that's right there on the wall where everybody should have seen it? No. People have been in there since the 80s, 90s, and early thousands with black lights. People have gone in there and sprayed the walls. The Egyptian Antiquities Department has done every single type of study they can. And then all of a sudden somebody finds come on, trying to push a Christian narrative. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to look into it, guys, but I'm a disbeliever. Because Frederick Norton Lewis didn't see it. John Taylor didn't see it in the 1870s, 1860s. Robert Menzies in the 1880s didn't see it. Charles Piazzi Smith in 1880s and 1890s studying the Great Pyramid didn't see it. This man was studying everything with a rule, trying to figure out everything. And then the Egyptologist, the main chief Egyptologist, Sir Flinders Petrie, studied that Great Pyramid in and out. He didn't see it. Adam Rutherford wrote a whole bunch of books about the Great Pyramid. He didn't see it. He's been in and out many times. E. Raymond Capp studied the pyramid in and out. He never saw it. Engineer David Davidson. What about H. Aldersmith? All these men spent their lives studying the Great Pyramid. They didn't see it. But all of a sudden, it's right there where everybody can see. Come on, guys. We have to use our common sense sometimes. These sensationalist claims are just that. They're sensationalist. There's no way I'm going to fall for some BS like that. You're going to, like I said, I tell you on my channel all the time, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And that's what I do. I provide data sets that are extraordinary. They're not only extraordinary, they are overwhelming. 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 Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, so overwhelming that I'm absolutely confident that if Billy Carson chose 19 other YouTubers that he trusted that all considered themselves experts in Atlantis, I will come on publicly Billy Carson's channel and I will debate them as long as they give me equal time. You get your 2 minutes, your 20 people get your 2 minutes. Y'all choose who gets to speak, who's got the best information. Give me my 2 minutes. We go back and forth, true debate. We have a good moderator who makes sure everybody obeys the rules. And I promise you, I will crush all 20 of them. Not anything personal. It's not because I'm smart, because I'm not. I got an 8th grade education. It's because I have the data sets, and you can't get around that. You can't. Plato didn't just date or misdate Atlantis. He gave us agrarian data, agricultural data. He gave us geographical data. He gave us socio-political data. He gave us ethnic data. He gave us all kinds of things. And all these scientists who have studied Plato have concluded couldn't have happened at any other time but the 13th century BC because of all the things that were mentioned. Yeah, these guys are not qualified to argue this. And this is why they're in damage control right now. This is not going to end well for them. If they don't capitulate, if they don't come to the table and say, hey, man, you know what? You must be right about this. Won't you educate us? Come on our channel, educate us where we got this wrong. If they're not willing to do that, you guys are going to see something quite remarkable. Because people think that they're untouchable in this age because of their prestige, their past success, and because of their wealth. But that's not the world we live in anymore. We live in a world now where information can be weaponized to such a degree that it can humble somebody who never saw it coming. That's the world we live in now, and I'm going to prove it to you. So, hats off to Billy Carson and sticking to his guns. But yeah, this is why the hell did I go on that rant? What was the question that was asked to me? Somebody asked me a question, and I took off on it. You guys know I rant. Good at it. That's right, the Great Pyramid deal. Brian Donovan said, no, Jason, you're right. Robert Grant. Okay, I don't know who Robert Grant is. He said he found an Alpha Omega on the coffin thing, the sarcophagus. Also, he claims he found the ancient zodiac before ours, claiming the pyramid is a calendar. Okay, well, Robert Grant and I agree that the pyramid is a calendar, and the zodiac before the Greek zodiac all depends on what culture you're talking about, because the ancient Babylonian Mulapin was only 6 signs. It was the Greeks that introduced the 12-sign zodiac and was the first ones to use Leo, Scorpio, all the ones. And this is the Vedic scholars even agree. They got the zodiac from the Greeks. The Egyptian historians even agree. The zodiac was imported by the Macedonians. The Macedonians were Greeks. It was the Egyptian Ptolemies, which was a Greek Egyptian dynasty that built Dendera. Yeah, Dendera is the zodiac. That's where the zodiac in Egypt, the only zodiac that's ever been found. Yeah, because the ancient Egyptians didn't give a damn about the zodiac. They watched the Seven Sisters. They watched Arcturus, and they really venerated Sirius, the star Sirius. So Robert Grant's his name. Okay, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. That's found Alpha and Omega on the coffin, on the sarcophagus. I just named a whole host of very qualified researchers who dedicated their lives to unraveling the secrets of the Great Pyramid. None of them found any of that. So my problem now is anybody claiming to have found anything doesn't mean they're lying, but it could very well mean that they themselves have fallen for a psyop. And what I mean is there has been whole decades where the interior of the Great Pyramid was off limits to the public because Zawi Hawass in the Egyptian Antiquities Department would not let anybody but qualified or I don't know, accepted persons come in, people that they approved. Nobody else could go in. So we know for a fact that the entrance of the Great Pyramid isn't the one that was original. I show in my video, Antiquitech of the Great Pyramid, that the Great Pyramid originally had an entrance, and the floor of that entrance is even with the Queen's Chamber, and that there is a line from the Queen's Chamber to those giant angled blocks that they have covered up. And I have shown on my channel where that entranceway was free of those blocks, and then there was concrete applied in different black and white pictures, and then later big blocks were put, but they don't look like the big blocks that were there initially. So we have a lot of manipulation going on with the Great Pyramid. And we know that that manipulation has been going on the inside as well. So whenever they want to build a narrative from here on out, you cannot accept new finds in the Great Pyramid because it's been tampered with too many times. And now the Egyptians can go in there and plant anything they want to. They can find a whole new access and a recess and claim that these are pharaonic artifacts. It's all BS. From this point forward, anything coming out that Great Pyramid is PSYOP. Even all my data on the Great Pyramid is over 100 years old, 120 years old. I have brought nothing new about the Great Pyramid. I brought this information, and it sounds new to you guys, but it's not. All the information that I brought about the Great Pyramid, all these measurements were done 120 years ago. So, yeah, can't fall for it. It's probably PSYOP. Anything new discovered in that Great Pyramid, believe me, if there's an A and an O and all that, Robert Grant. Robert Grant is a mathematician and billionaire supported by Gaia. You know what? Gaia needs to support me as the official chronologist for the truther community. That's what they need to do. They can sit down somewhere. I am not impressed. Not impressed at all. Yeah. Doesn't mean Robert Grant's just being deceptive. But then again, he might be. I don't know. I haven't reviewed the data, but I know this. Ain't no Alpha and Omega just appeared on that sarcophagus. That sarcophagus has been studied by so many men, even way more men than I just named to you, who have spent their lives studying the Great Pyramid. So no, I'm not buying it. Not even buying it. Yeah, anything discovered now, you can pretty much, you can pretty much just write that off. It's, no good. No good. It's all about sensationalism. They don't go about facts. Nobody goes by data sets anymore. None of that. Nobody looks at this stuff the way it's supposed to be. And this is why academia, this is why the scholars look at all the Gaia people like, you bunch of shills. They don't even entertain them. This is why Graham Hancock is laughed at by geologists, is laughed at by all these historians and these paleobotanists and these paleontologists. They look at Graham Hancock like, you're a moron. Why? Because who cares what your Younger Dryas impact theory is? Who cares what? You have not yet shown us a data set. It's that simple. It's that simple. You can't expect academia, you can't expect those who have these elitist educations that are peer-reviewed to accept what you provide if you're not backing it up, one, with a lot of sources, and like I say on my channel all the time, if something is true, it will always be seen from multiple different vantage points, often multiple different species of mathematical analysis. Always. Anything that's true, there's more than one way to see it. Often there's multiple ways. And this is why my videos bring so much value to the community. I am not telling you guys what I believe is true. I am demonstrating it over and over and over. And this is why Graham Hancock, Billy Carson, these people are not taken seriously by those that they really want to take, they really want to be a part of those communities, academia. And they can't. They can't. Yeah, none of Graham Hancock's books provide data sets. They just throw out really, really tantalizing information, asking all the right questions. I mean, I'm not impressed with Graham Hancock at all. You guys already know. The man is have no idea, unless, like I already told you guys, because I'm already past the point of no return. I don't care. I have a feeling that the London School of Economics is a globalist-funded intelligence operation where they put out all these people, because all these famous people today all came from the London School of Economics. Too many coincidences exhibits no coincidence at all. So how does the London School of Economics put out a sociologist who becomes worldwide known for all his advanced alternative history theories on the Younger Dryas period and Civilization X 10,000 years ago? How? Because it's by design. That's how. Yeah. Did he earn that status? I don't believe Graham Hancock earned that status. If Graham Hancock's offended, he can debate me about that. But I do not believe that man is near as intelligent as the books that I have read by him. Yeah, I don't. But it's open for debate. If Mr. Hancock would like to defend the integrity of his research, I don't believe he wrote those books. And I believe that in a conversation, he can bring all those books with him on live video. I don't need notes. I don't need a pen. I don't need to look at none of his books. And I will be able to go through every single one of those and dissect them and basically show the community that, look, man, this man didn't know his material as much as he thought he did or as much as he promoted. Yeah, using his own bibliographies, I can show that he had access to the information I've had access to. So why are his conclusions so wrong? I don't know. Ask Billy Carson. Yeah, man. London School of Economics. George Soros went there. Mick Jagger went there. Oh, man, I can't remember that dude's name. Many media moguls went there. People, show hosts. I can't remember all the people. I got a whole list of all these people that went there. It's crazy. Oh, Zechariah Sitchin was one of them. He went there. I'm still not buying it, Drew Hurst, about the A and the O being there. The Alpha and Omega being inside the Great Pyramid. Because I'm telling you now, those are derived from the Phoenician alphabet. And an A and an O have no meaning at all beyond 800 BC. And yet the Great Pyramid is 100% 2,000 years older than that. So an A and an O being put in the sarcophagus would have been done by a much later civilization that used the A and the O in their alphabets. But when the Great Pyramid was made, the alphabet did not exist. Yeah, so I'm not buying it. No way. That's an anachronism. Yeah, I've had Paul Cook on my channel. All right. Thank you, Sheila Sutherford. Member for 1 month. Can't think of a question for the life of me, but I'm 81 Sheila. And you can add me to the list for book giveaways from the library. I'm working on making a home office at the moment. All right, Sheila. Yeah, man, Randy Butler. I don't know who you are, man, but I've been there too. Went to TDC to learn the secrets of the Bible. Yes, sir. So, in Chronicon, there are so many of them, there's no way to just isolate. I mean, there's just so many of them, but one of the things that I show a lot, and I don't know if Shiva's even in the chat. I haven't seen Shiva's name, but he was one of the editors. One of the main things that you'll find in Chronicon are these palindromic patterning all throughout history. And I've shown many examples on my channel, but you'll find them everywhere in Chronicon. You'll just be reading about the unfolding of the Hittite wars against the Lydians, and then it'll be a part of a more elaborate pattern of other wars. This is the value of Chronicon. It tells you how every single historical date, how many years it was after this event, how many years after it was since the vapor canopy collapsed, the Great Flood, the day the sky fell. when the sun was born. Like such and such war, such and such truce, such and such treaty, or some epidemic broke out in the 792nd year after the flood, exactly 666 years after Canaan found the ancient tablets and excavated them, and Noah got on his ass because he knew those were writings of the Anunnaki, and he didn't want that to be released to the public after the flood. It's a story found in the Book of Jubilees. So, Chronicon is always showing forward and backward in time where each major event in world history fits into the patterning. Chronicon is almost unbelievable because before you're even halfway through it, you're going to be absolutely convinced we live in a construct. There is no way natural history could have unfolded this way. There is no way that any series of events could have just naturally happened the way that we find. We find 670-year events like the 241,200 shars of the Sumerian king list. 7 kings, according to the king list, 7 kings ruled 241,200 shars, and then the flood swept the earth. Well, when you go by the Sumerian sexagesimal system of the shar count, you get 670 years. It's very simple. 7 kings ruled 670 years. That's simple. And then you find the same 670 years. It blows your mind when you're reading all these things. You find out that, oh wow, the original Hittite dynasty was 7 kings. It started a 670-year countdown, but the 7 kings only ruled for like 40 years. But it started another 670-year countdown. From 1899 BC, the start of the Hittite dynasty, counts 670 years to when the Hittites were wiped off the map. By what? The Sea Peoples Federation. In 1299 BC, the fall of Troy. Egypt is invaded. Philistia, the sea peoples that escaped the Egyptian invasions, made it further north, and they established the 5 cities of the Pentapolis. It's amazing. 5 cities. Isn't that what we read in the Sumerian king list before the flood? 5 cities. I can't remember them all. I know Shuruppak, Bad Tabira, Larak, Sippar. There's one I'm missing, but there's 5 cities. It's called the Sumerian Pentapolis. And those 5 cities thrived during the 670 years before they were wiped out by the Great Flood. But in the Hittite version, it's 670 years of Hittite history. After the flood, 340th year after the flood begins the first year of the Hittite dynasty. That counts down 670 years all the way to 1299 BC, the fall of Troy, the fall of Ilium, the invasion of the Sea Peoples. The Sea Peoples attacked Cyprus. They attacked Sardinia. They attacked Mauritania, Northern Africa. They attack Libya. 2 invasions of Egypt. They get repelled in Egypt and they fall back north to Philistia. And the Sea Peoples settle in Philistia. One group of the Sea Peoples do, called the Phaistos. And the Phaistos settle in, and their homeland is supposed to be a faraway place way in the west called Caphtorum. These people became the Philistines. The Philistines had the Pentapolis, capital cities of Gaza, Gath, Ashdod, Ascalon, and there's a 5th one I can't remember. But here we have the unfolding of history, the same amount of years, the same situation, a Pentapolis. Again, the same. We have these repetitive timelines. They appear hundreds of times throughout Scripture, showing that history is patterned over and over and over. I show you guys. I got a whole video on the repetitive timelines of Rome. It's absolutely amazing that the entire Carthaginian War already happened 12 centuries before. It was the same players, and the same players even had the same name spelled slightly different. Yeah, the North African kingdom of Angeus invades Italia. Yeah, this is Carthage versus Rome all over again. 12 centuries before it actually happened. You know, the recorded version that we have called the Punic Wars. The same scenario already happened. And who invaded? His name was Hannibal. But in the Punic Wars, he's Hannibal. Hannibal devastates Italia for 18 years. Just like 12 centuries later, Hannibal devastates Rome, all the Roman provincial areas and outside of Rome for 18 years. The Carthaginian general Hannibal took the battle to the Romans. Yeah, the whole thing, battle for battle, and even the names of the participants is the same. We have this over and over throughout history, and it's amazing. It's all documented in Chronicon. All this and these are mixed. These patterns, these repetitive timelines, they're found everywhere in scripture. They're also found in the chronological record. And it doesn't make sense outside the context that history unfolded according to the principles of intelligent design. There's no way around that. Anybody who's read Chronicon knows this. Anybody who's been on my channel long enough to see a bunch of these historical video presentations know this as well. It is beyond coincidence that these mathematical patterns have shown, and they've shown so many times that they even provide us predictive value. That's amazing. Not only those, but we have these amazing cross-calendrical parallels that are even interwoven through these dates, these stamped histories. These cross-calendrical parallels are amazing. the same date in like the BC dating that goes in reverse. In the AD dating, the same day, we find crossover. It's amazing concerning major events in world history. We find that the same year on the Roman Julian count, when something unfolded, the same events unfolded elsewhere on the Indian Saka calendar. And then we find out the Buddhic calendar on a certain year, the same events happened in the United States calendar starting 1776. Over and over and over, we find that there is these energetic attachments of phenomena to events, and that cultures, societies, and peoples at a whole experience certain things on certain years of different calendars. And it doesn't matter if the calendar is Vedic, Hindu, Sumerian, Babylonian, if it's post-flood, Akkadian. It doesn't matter if it's the Pythian calendar, the Olympiad calendar, the Indian Saka calendar, the Buddhic calendar. It does not matter if it's the Moravian, Frankish Annals calendar. It doesn't matter if it's the Anglo-Saxon. We find over and over and over that on certain years, like the 72nd year, the 108th year, the 144th year, the 153rd year, the 276th year, the Phoenix 138th year. That's another thing Chronicon shows. Chronicon doesn't just show the Phoenix timeline going back 59 centuries of 138-year periods, but also shows all the major disasters in world history that were in the 138th year of whatever was being recorded by whatever civilization was using for a timekeeping system at the time. None of this is coincidental. Every bit of this shows the architecture of our reality is governed. And if it's governed, then that means its ultimate origin is by intelligent design. It's inescapable. So I'm running my mouth, guys. I was taking questions and I just took off. But this is the value that Chronicon brings to the table. Oh, we can address that too. Where is that? Jonathan Sherman says the eclipse passes over 8 cities named Nineveh. Nineveh experienced an eclipse when Jonah visited with orders to repent. Coincidental? Coincidence? Okay, check this out. Jonathan, I'm going to tell you my interpretation of what's going on. I don't know what your persuasion is, Christian. I don't know. I really don't know. It's irrelevant. I want to tell you what I mean. And I'm also going to preface this with, you made a comment on my channel earlier and I responded to it. I just want to say, I respect your opinion, bro. And I respect your answer after the comment that I made to you. So there's no bad blood here. I said, but you have to understand too, when I'm in the comment section every single day, I have a lot of questions I answer. So I'm going through comments rapidly and I try to abbreviate my answers as much as possible. And sometimes it sounds terse. Sometimes people are off-put by that. Don't be offended by me. I'm just trying to answer as many questions as possible and move on to the next comment. So Yeah, but Jonathan Sherman says the eclipse passes over 8 cities and they're all named Nineveh. Nineveh experienced an eclipse when Jonah visited with orders to repent. Is it a coincidence? No, it is not a coincidence. I am 100% on board with the fact that an eclipse path is going to cross over all these towns, villages, cities, whatever, that are all named Nineveh, and that this is to draw our attention to the biblical story. I'm on board with that. My interpretation of the deal is that the path of the eclipse was already known when they laid out these towns, and this was done for a future event. But then again, I believe that we live in a simulated environment, so all of this could have been done easily. It's all programming. I agree with you that this has meaning, but I'm going to interpret it differently than what I'm hearing on YouTube. I'm hearing on YouTube that just like the story of Jonah. I heard this on Nino's channel. When I was in the garage recently doing different stuff and working on building shelves and all that, I was listening to a guest Nino had on his channel about the same thing. The eclipses in the now you have to remember 3 years to 3.5 years ago, I told you that real soon you're going to see the rise of the Christian right, and it's going to turn into the Christian Reich. This is what's developing in the United States. I'm telling you now, because the events that are planned for 2024 right now, that are about soon to unfold, is going to enrage Christian Westerners, because the actors are going to be rising up in multiple different Christian Western nations, and they're going to be committing acts of violence and attacks against the infrastructure. Every bit of this is planned, and it's so easy to see. I have whole videos about it on Archaics TV. This is what's going down in the United States and in Western nations, but it's all by design, because the elite want a Christian self-righteous indignation that's going to fuel and fill up the Western and American armies so they can go to war against Islam in the Middle East. This is all by design. The script was written and published over 100 years ago. This right here is all a part of the programming. It's going to go over, it's going to draw attention to, it's going to draw attention to this right here, to the fact that, America needs to repent. All this happens, we're on a divine timeline, America needs to repent, and this all falls into the elite's planning. 100%. Do we have a God? Yes. Do we have an oversoul? Absolutely. Is he in absolute control? I'm going to say yes from a spiritual perspective, and absolutely not from a material perspective, because we're not here to save the world at all. And Christianity is convinced that we are. And they believe that if enough people come together, that they're going to save this construct. And we're not here for that. From the very beginning, our religious texts have conveyed that we are pilgrims here. We are sojourners. We are traveling through a whole realm of experiences so we can acquire all the things that we need for our spiritual advancement. And we're going to move on. And others are going to loop back and they're going to re-experience this over and over and over. This program is ancient. It's been doing this for a very long time. It's time for me to go. It's time for others to go. That's why I call us errants. We're going a totally different direction. We're not following the protocols in the programming anymore. Christianity is pure programming. It is designed to strike the chords of the soul, to manipulate your behavior. This is what 2024 is about. This is the breaking of the second seal, which is specifically designed to take peace from the earth. In taking peace from the earth, I've already done my Greek decodes on the text of the second seal, and I have affirmatively concluded that this involves attacks against the infrastructure by small groups that are going to affect large amounts of people. I believe the media is going to be involved in it, just like they were with the COVID narrative. They're going to be fear pumping. That's all they're going to do. Just like with the COVID narrative, just like they're going to initiate lockdowns, but not for medical reasons. They're going to initiate lockdowns for your safety because the infrastructure is being attacked. There's going to be a lot of knifings. I said this 6 months ago. Watch out. all around the world, you're going to see a lot of knifings now. That's what the Greek says. The Greek does not say what the Judeo-Christian world has been led to believe, that the second horseman, the red horseman, is of war. That's not what the Greek says. The Greek doesn't even say a great sword. It's not. It's a dagger. It's a small arms fighting. And the word great in the Greek it connotes something that is widespread, not something like a giant sword. It's all mistranslated. What we have is what we have already seen. The reason Texas is in the news, the reason the migrants are all in the news, the reason all the migrant uprisings in the UK and Muslims have been given absolute control of law enforcement in the UK. All this that's going on is all by design. Every bit of it is by design, because when it kicks off, it's going to kick off, and this is why the Israelis invaded Gaza. It was to kick this off. 100%. Because when all this stuff goes down in 2024, they're going to be claiming basically jihad, because the West is backing Jerusalem. The West is backing Jerusalem. This was what starts the great new crusade that was written as World War III by Albert Pike and Mazzini when they discussed these things in letters in the 1880s and 1890s, which has been widely published now. It's not even a secret now. It's all over Twitter. Whole transcripts of the letters are all. It's not, Jason's not making anything up. I'm just telling you the facts. World War I and World War II came off exactly as planned. Why do you think World War III is not going to? They don't give a damn that we know in advance. Yeah, they don't care. Where you're not going to stop them. This is going to go down this way. And the highly individualized soul is not going to try and stop anything. No, not here for that. You're not here to fight against the money of George Soros. You're not here to do that. You're here to learn, to help anybody that's in the field around you. You can't be responsible for somebody on another island. You can't be responsible for somebody you don't know. But the weight of spiritual integrity and maturity is what's going to lead you to help those that interact with your field, those around you. That's all you can. That's all that can be expected of you. That's it. And remember, fear makes you a participant. When all this goes down, be an observer and understand what's happening. Because just like COVID, after 18 months died down and they stopped the restrictions and stopped the mandates and they lifted the travel restrictions and people were able to go back to the countries of their nativity and their origin, it's the exact same thing. When all this blows over, it's going to be a little bit slightly different world. In the West, there's going to be a puritanism. There's going to be a warped version of militant Christianity that's going to rise up fast. That's what's happening. It's already building right now. It's been building. And I predicted this 3 years ago in my videos, that a new Christian Reich is rising in America. And it's going to rise in Western nations as well. It's already building. Yeah, this is what's happening. All these events that don't make sense really do make sense. They're just getting ready. All this arguing over the border that Texas is doing and all that, it's all smoke and mirrors. All they're doing is all the governor, Abbott and all them, they're just positioning themselves, knowing all this violence is about to happen. All they're doing is positioning themselves so when the violence is all over, they can point the fingers at the federal administration. They can point the fingers at not necessarily point fingers, but they can actually defend themselves to their own voting populations. Yeah, that's what they're really worried about. That's why Biden, only at the end of a 4-year period where you let millions of people come across Texas, the border, only because you feared federal repercussions. Now all of a sudden you're bucking. Now all of a sudden it's because they let you. Governor Greg Abbott is playing by the book. Yeah, the damage is already done. They're already here. They're already here. Everything else is now pretense. So when all the action is over, when everything's been put down, everybody's locked up, put in detention facilities and all that, and all this comes in there and peace is restored, but with new draconian laws set in place to maintain the peace. When all this happens in 2024 and 2025, that's when like the state of Texas can say, oh, you guys know we fought it. We tried to get that wall. The feds were against us. We did all this because they want to maintain face. That's all it is. So yeah, this The eclipse path going over 8 cities of Nineveh, this is something new. If it's true, even. But it is something new. We don't have anything in prior eclipses like that. We don't have this path doing this. So it begs the question, has anybody done a fact check on how those towns were all named? And if there ever was an eclipse in the past where the path of totality passed through all those areas, and then later someone came and named all these places Nineveh. Just curious. Just curious. Oh, there's Don Hart in the chat right there. If I'm missing questions, I'm sorry, guys. I keep going on these rants. So Chronicon is packed. You can read all kinds of historical timelines about different civilizations and cultures, and then come across cross-calendrical parallel. It's going to send you somewhere else in Chronicon. Then you're going to read that culture's history that may have happened 2,000 years earlier, and you're going to see, oh my God, everything is a blueprint for what happened right here. It's like cookie cutter stamped. These cross-calendrical parallels are amazing. Cross-calendrical parallels is when basically the same series of events happens on the same years, but totally different calendars observed by totally different civilizations. That's amazing. And of course, we always have our isometric projections. I call them isometric projections because when it's all done and said, Chronicon shows that our entire framework of history is a series of calendars that makes up an isometric network. It's like architecture. Time space is like architecture that is fixed. And within that fixed architecture, events flow forward and backward in time, and they have predictive value. That's what Chronicon shows. Let's see. So yeah, even the Chronicon also makes it very easy to see how the hundreds of thousands of years of the Shars and the hundreds of thousands of years of the Kalis, of the Kali Yugas and all the different Yugas all fit perfectly under the Sumerian sexagesimal system. And they even identify major events in world history all before the flood. Yeah, I just recently did a video a few months ago showing you guys just a small of the 3,000 years of documented historical events that happened before 2239 BC, the day the sky fell, the great flood of Noah. 3,000 years of documented history going back to Archaics year 1. 5239 BC. All I did out of that 3,000 years, I did a video showing you just an 817 year period, just to show you guys how packed full of history the pre-flood world is. All I did was isolate an 817 year period, and I showed you guys everything that happened in that 817 years. And the 817th year was the building of the Great Pyramid. It was still 6.5 centuries before the flood. Yeah, that's how much data we have in Archaics for the unfolding of historical events, even in ancient antiquity. Yeah, we don't need 432,000 years because it's not even true. It was 42,000 turnings of the stars, Shars, which is only 1,200 years. You got to divide it by the Sumerian sexagesimal system. There were 360 turnings of the stars a year. So you take all these impossibly long Anunnaki dates and divide it by 360 turnings of the stars. You got your date. See, it's so easy. So easy. And it's not even my discovery. Yeah, you guys have seen in my data sets, I cite the books from 200, 300, 400 years ago and 2,100 years ago where they corrected the problem back then. Yeah. That's right. Zechariah Sitchin, that was a disinfo agent, 100%. You got people today copying him like he was just gospel truth. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, you have to ask your questions in all caps. Spirit Miracle is asking me about a devil comet. I don't know anything about it. Are you saying that they're predicting a devil comet, or they've already seen a comet and they're calling it the devil? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. Okay, so somebody's asking me, will war break out in America? Okay, if we look at this isometrically, 2024 is equal to 1972. 1972 was the final year of fighting in Vietnam. 1973, we pulled out. 1973, the only fighting we did was defensive to get our people in positions out. Saigon, we were gone. 1972 was the actual final year in Vietnam that we were actively doing missions. So, I don't know. Maybe in 2024 we will begin military exercises somewhere in the Middle East. That's what it looks like to me. Looks like to me. I mean, I have a couple theories. One of them is I'm not entirely convinced. I am not entirely convinced we left $4.5 billion of new, very good military hardware in Afghanistan for the enemy. I'm not convinced that we did that. And the reason I'm not is because I don't believe Biden's a president. I'm not saying Trump is either. I'm just saying, with all my research, you guys know that I'm no longer entertaining that BS anymore. Yeah, I had my paradigm shift about 5 months ago when I started reanalyzing and reassessing everything on the news. I've told you guys that, look, you guys know I voted for Trump. I was a Trump supporter. When I was on David Nino Rodriguez's channel 2 or 3 times, I was a Trump supporter. But I've had to reassess all that now that I understand the game, now that I've looked deep into the unfolding of events. And what woke me up was the death. That's what woke me up. The death of Henry Kissinger. When Henry Kissinger died, I started doing some studies, and I was telling Dawn something. I was like, well, you know what? I don't know why I never looked at something that was so flagrantly obvious to me before. How in the hell are secretaries of state so powerful? Who are they actually? So Henry Kissinger was around forever, like 8 presidents. So I'm like, man, who are these guys? So I do a deep dive on Henry Kissinger and I find out everything's Zionist, everything Jewish. I'm like, oh wow. So I do these studies and I go back further about who the Roosevelts were and how many terms they served. Oh my God. I'm like, wow, all the rules are getting broken. So I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. FDR's New Deal goes against all American principles, but it was passed. Federal Reserve goes against American principles. So I know 1902 was reset in part of 1901. I know this. I've already shown all the evidence for it. Got a whole playlist, almost a whole playlist about it. My most recent 1902 video should have woke you up. And if you're not awake by the end of that video, you can't be woken up, especially if you read that comment section and all the people who offered other things they found out about 1902 as well. So I'm like, wow, wait a minute. And then it dawns on me, wait a minute, I got notes on the assassination of President McKinley. So I do some research on that. I'm like, wow. The very first president after the assassination of Kennedy, of William McKinley, was the first president of the official takeover of the United States. And after that, those who took over the United States put puppets into position because they wanted the patriots of the United States to think they had a real, true American standing government when they didn't. The takeover was real in 1902. Yeah, I couldn't believe it as I'm looking into all this. So Henry Kissinger, he's not an aide to the president. He's telling the cabinet members and the president what to do the whole time he was here. Yeah, I got everything makes sense to me now as I'm looking at all this. So now I'm seeing that, okay, the entire 1902 onward basically was the worldwide takeover these people executed, and this is what they did. And now their magnum opus is about to unfold. Yeah, this is all they're doing. This is all they're the ones that signed the contract. There's no force in this world that's going to overcome them and do all that. This is what the construct is doing. They're working with the construct. They have chosen to be here, to stay here. This is who they are. Yeah, this is why there is not a single promise of heaven anywhere in the Torah. Read the Torah, guys. Nowhere does it say when you die, you're going to heaven. They knew because they signed the contract. Yeah, guys, the contract that was offered by the demon that came out of the burning bush is not the same contract that was offered to Abraham and all of Abraham's descendants. We're talking about two fundamentally different contracts that had totally different concepts attached to them. One's in Genesis, and then a whole new one pops up in a different book, Exodus. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. Oh, you want to learn more about it? Yeah, the whole history of both groups, though, those who signed the contract and those who are going with the oversoul. The whole history is in between Abraham and Yahweh. We already know who the God of this world is. Yeah, Yaldabaoth. He's the one that manifested in a burning bush. He's the one that offered a certain people a contract and they signed it. And then he was once known as the writhing serpent, the twisted serpent. He was Leviathan, and his priests were Levites. This is the story. It's all in Chronicon. You want to check it out. Another tangent I went on. Yeah, none of this makes Christians bad. I was a Christian for 40 years of my life. I still consider myself a Christian, but 100% in the spiritual sense. Yeah, carnal Christianity is a trap. Carnal Christianity is nothing but stamping on the old sun god human sacrifice mythos onto what was originally known as the sayings of Jesus. The sayings of Jesus are supernatural. They are amazing. They're spiritual food. But there was no virgin birth in the sayings of Jesus. There was no crucifixion in the sayings of Jesus. There was no water into wine. There was none of that. No blood drops in the Garden of Gethsemane, no Mount of Transfiguration, none of that. All that was later added by the church. None of that. Yeah, you want to know about all those histories? Yeah, everything makes sense. Remember, guys, if one of the things that has brought so much value to the community, and I know because I get your emails, I get your letters, I get your presents. I get packages every single week of people, appreciation. Give me books, send me a card and say, hey, man, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I get financial donations all the time. You don't hear me asking you for money on my channel. Yeah, I don't have merchandise scrolling on my videos. Yeah, I don't have all that. But, Billy Carson seems to be offended that I've got a PayPal and a donation link. Yeah, he's really offended by that. He mentioned in the video the other day, even though his passive-aggressive ass doesn't want to say archaics, we all know, the only community that you could be referring to is Jason and the archaics community. Yeah, he talked real bad about you guys. We're going to address it too, 2 days from now. Yeah, and we have his full permission. I made sure to download the whole video because he gave the full permission. He says we can use his name. We can mention forbidden knowledge. We can use his name, Billy Carson. We can cite him. We can quote him. We can draw all that attention. He gave us full permission. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I've been dealing with dudes like him all my life. Yeah, you don't do 26 years in prison and not deal with narcissistic, bully type individuals. I've been dealing with all my life, guys. I ain't never been a pushover, and I'm not going to start on YouTube. I'm not going to let keyboard warriors intimidate me. It'll never happen. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people in this community, guys. I just haven't started sending my emails out. As a matter of fact, that might be Big John's next project, or I might just outsource and hire somebody to start. I need the emails of all these channels Billy's been on. Every single person that Billy has ever done an interview with, I need the email of that host. Yeah. Graham Hancock as well. That includes what's his name? That podcaster, Joe Rogan. Yeah. I mean, if somebody does not want to defend the integrity of their research, their claims that were made to the public, and you're hosting a channel and you let that person have a voice, but when somebody like Jason of Archaics rises up with the receipts and provides the data sets, I don't hold them to my chest. I give them free to the public, and you have access to them. And if you gave Billy a voice on your channel, but you're going to tell me no, I'm going to put you out there. I'm going to put you on blast too. I'm going to start putting together a list so the community can know who's gatekeeping and who's not. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I would go on Rogan. Hell yeah. There's a whole bunch of people that need to be woke up on Rogan's show. It doesn't mean Rogan's a good guy. Yeah. Sometimes you got to dance with devils, man, just to get the message out. It doesn't mean I agree with everything Rogan says. Yeah, but there's a lot. Some of you guys can help me out and send me emails. If you've got the personal emails, the contact emails for all these platforms that have been giving Graham Hancock and Billy Carson a voice, well, it's time for these guys to know. Most of them are good guys that just want good quality content. So Jason of Archaics will make sure they get really good quality content when they hear the truth about how Atlantis was already positively dated and it can be proven to be the 13th century BC. And all these people are not just mistaken, they're lying. Simple as that. That's what I bring to the table. They need to know it. They need to know it. Yeah, man, there's a whole bunch of them. Whole bunch of shows that have been giving them a voice. But if a man does not want to publicly defend what he publicly elucidates, then there's a problem. There's a problem. And you should let Jason correct that problem. That's all I'm asking for. Thank you, it's Miss Me. Yeah, one of these days, David Icke and I we'll talk. I promise you that's coming. David Icke was the very first one I listened to. I was reading Children of the Matrix and The World Will Set You Free or something like that, 2 big books, when I was a Christian. So I was very receptive to David Icke. Even though I was really deep in my Bible, I was very receptive to it. He opened my eyes up, but it took reading 2 David Icke books while I was a Southern Baptist puritanical, twice baptized, washed in the blood of the Lamb Christian. It took reading those 2 David Icke books while I was doing all my Christian studies to prepare me for a book that fell into my lap that I wasn't even looking for. That book was William Cooper, Behold a Pale Horse. That book opened up my mind and literally sent me down a rabbit hole, because the guy who loaned me that book had other books. One of them was called The Unseen Hand. I read that too. Another book, huge, called The New World Order. I read that book too. Then I went down the rabbit hole. And this is about 1996, 1997. But I still stayed a Christian. But now I started studying other things. I started studying. You guys have seen my bibliography. I published it for free. Free PDF downloads. You can see all the books I studied. Yeah, man. It's David Icke started it for me. But it wasn't enough. And that's not David Icke's fault. I just didn't come into contact with any more David Icke material until I read a 3rd David Icke book many years later about the World Trade Center disaster. Yeah, that's David Icke. David Icke and William Cooper opened my mind, and this is both in the 1990s. But I was 40 years old. It was well into the 2000s. You know, I'm 50 now. It's 10 years ago. Yeah, it's 10 years ago. It was 2014 when I realized, okay, I can't be a Christian. I don't believe this Bible anymore. Yeah, can't. I started reading all kinds of scholarly and academic material on how all the pseudepigraphical literature was put together, because the church was trying to trying to prove different points, and I realized, oh my God, they actually made up the Gospel of Nicodemus just so they could cover up this point in the Gospel where they messed up. They actually made up, and I started doing some deeper research and come to find out, oh my God, all these stories were made up. And I mean, academics and scholars, they've had this material. If you have not read Kersey Graves, The 16 Crucified Saviors, then you're doing yourself a disservice. If you have not read Akaria S. in her The Greatest Story Ever Sold about the invention of the New Testament, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you have not read Charles Waite, 1901 or 1902, 1920, also reprinted. I can't remember. Initially, it was written in the 1800s. The first 2 centuries of the Christian religion, the first 200 years of the Christian religion by Charles Waite. We just recently sent a copy. I had 2 copies in my library back here. I have another one right here. But Shiva Shampoo got the other one. We mailed it to him. And now that Don's feeling better, we'll be getting back on that raffle. We have a lot of books from the 1800s. Remember, I'm giving away a bunch of books, classics, and all that. We'll be mailing out to you guys that win the raffle. Dude, we got a lot of winners. Yeah, there's way too many people to just do one raffle. We're gonna have 3 winners at a time. Wonder why my camera just lit up like that. That's weird. The light in here didn't change. So let's see. So devil comment. Somebody's mentioning that devil comment again. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. It's something I have to look into. Comments don't impress me though. You know, Charles Fort wrote a lot about Halley's Comet, and he showed, look, man, Halley's Comet ain't done all the things astronomers claim it's done. And Charles Fort showed all the data. It's like, wow, there's many centuries Halley's Comet never made a presence. So it's very hard for, after a 400 or 500 year period, a comet is seen around the time that it's supposed to be seen. You can't just say it's Halley's Comet. You don't know what the trajectory was. You don't know what the quadrant, where it appeared. You just don't know these things. So, but astronomers are real quick to attach anything to a chain of custody on information if it just remotely fits to support a pet theory. You guys already know how they do it. You already know how they do it. Yeah, man. Remember, I tell you guys a lot. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. It doesn't matter, man, if you say you're a Christian or not. None of that matters. In matters of the spirit, when you're connected to source, what you refer to yourself is absolutely unimportant. Are you doing the work? That's all that matters. It's all it's ever mattered. Yeah, but I would have that conversation with Mr. Ike. He deserves whether you disagree with the reptilians or whatever. I don't even know if he promotes that anymore. But whether you agree or disagree with some of the things, you have to look at things from an overall perspective. There's a lot of people toting a lot of theories in today's social media deal. David Icke, and he's antecedent to all of that. David Icke is way before all these truther communities and Pleiadians and Arcturians and Galactic Federations and Space Brothers and Great White Brotherhood and Golden Dawn crap that's all out there right now. Yeah, he's way before all that. He's way before all the what all these people putting out, ancient aliens, and yeah, man. Yeah, I still want to debate them ancient aliens guys. They're next on my list. It's crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, runaway train, I get that. But you know what? I make mistakes too. One or 2 or 3 mistakes, everything's a matter of perspective. If I'm a personality and I've put myself out to the public and I've provided 100 data points that I'm willing to defend, if I'm wrong about 6 or 7 of them, do I not still bring value? Okay, So now maybe you guys can understand why I get a little short with people. When I've put out over 10,000 data points, when I have constructed for you 26 or 27 logic trains of pure data sets, and yet I get some troll in the comment section that's just hyper intensive about one mistake I made about one little thing. When you can just eliminate, okay, man, I'll just agree with you. Okay, I was wrong about that. Cool, but it doesn't even change the logic train. Why? Because before I ever bring data sets to you guys' attention, I've already eliminated so much material. So what's left, I still make sure is overwhelming. So if somebody takes apart one of my data sets, I'm cool with that. If I've got 45 points of interest that are all verifiable and it all fits mathematically together and we have all the sources for it, if you can have a panel of people go through it and they take out 5 or 6 of them for whatever reasons, it still does not affect the integrity of the data set because I bring too much to the table. What people consider as proof today, that doesn't fly with me. You guys know I'm going to overwhelm someone with the information because I want it to be right. I want you to be able to see what I see. I don't want to persuade you. I want to demonstrate. This is what I do over and over. This is why I am so hypercritical of other theories. I'm not saying other theories are wrong. I'm just saying I can't cross-pollinate. I can't contaminate the archaics data with somebody else's stuff. I just can't do it because I do not know with what integrity that individual provides that material unless I go through and just follow it and try to figure out where he got all that data. I don't know. I don't know. This is why I want people to come to archaics and know they are guaranteed to get the best data. Yeah, I stand behind that. Hell, what more can I do? What more can I do but call out all? I'm calling giants out. I'm not reaching down there messing with these peons. All these people, man, that are small and struggling and trying to make a living and trying to make money on YouTube. I'm not trying to do that. I could do that easily. I could clear the field, but why? It would not benefit me. Why would I belittle myself doing that? Why would I do that? No, I'm going to be a David and I'm only going to attack Goliath and only those who have put themselves in that position. There's a lot of people with huge channels that do not deserve to be attacked because they're not asserting things as fact that are absolutely wrong and can be easily disproven. There's no reason to go after them. There's no reason at all. But for those who are steadily pumping out easily disprovable material, and yet they don't capitulate, they don't come to the table, they don't say, okay, yeah, we're willing to hear you. You know what I mean? Instead, they get all pompous and they double down, which is the worst thing they could do, but they do it anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I have the whole wealth of data in Chronicon right here to back up anything that I say. I don't need to research anything anymore. I just bring the data I have to the table and we can get all these things right. That's what I can do. I think who was that runaway train? Yeah, I don't know, man. What I was answering right there. Yeah, but they woke me up. Those two guys. But of course I did. Charles Fort was the one that they woke me up, but Charles Fort educated me. He taught me how to think. I read all 4 of Charles Fort. I got all 4 of them on the shelf. I showed them to you. I've got original copies. Old Charles Fort books. He educated me. He educated me on how to think. He educated me on how to put together data sets. That's what he did. Charles Fort did that. Man is absolutely hated by the scientific establishment because he showed where almost everything they promote is fickle. It's amorphous. It's subject to change at all times. It's awesome. Charles Fort's the man. And I know many of you have ordered Charles Fort's books, not just Book of the Damned, but his other 3 books as well. New Lands, Wild Talents, and Lo. Those are the names of the 3 other books. I know all 4 of those books back and forth. Soon we may do some Charles Fort videos just to re-educate you guys on the wealth of data this man brought to the table. It's amazing. Even 120 years later, Charles Fort is unmatched. Yeah, Jacques Vallée is pretty close. John, William Corliss is okay, but none of those men equal a Charles Fort. They just don't. I've lost my chat. I'm so far behind. So far behind. Oh, also, you guys want to come join me in Houston? We're still scheduled. We've already sold a lot of tickets. You know how we do it. We got a huge room. And we take all these chairs and we put it around a round table. And sometimes we got to take a double row of chairs, which is cool. And we do our giveaways with a raffle machine, and we bring all kinds of prizes. And we have the Archaics merchandise in there, but really we just kick it for 8 or 9 hours with the community. This is where we get to take pictures together. I answer all your questions. Martin Leakey's going to be there, a Flat Earth British. He's going to be in there in the room with us. He's a comedian. He's going to keep it started up. So yeah, this is on March 4th. You know what? I haven't even posted it. I'm really negligent about that. I haven't even posted the link. Will one of my moderators please post the link if you haven't already to the meetup? It's on March 30th. Yeah, we're going to have fun, guys. And of course, you already know too, you're not going to be left out. Every meetup I've ever done, we recorded it and we posted it on YouTube. But yeah, for those who are interested in the Archaics Academy, bear with me. This little recent bout with the hospital kind of backed things up, but soon I'll post the syllabus so you'll know what all 48 courses are, because this is serious. 36 courses get you a full graduation from the Archaics Academy, but 48 courses, an additional 12 courses, are for those who want to take it to the next level. And what I mean is you guys know I've studied Cicero. In Cicero, his book on oratory is going to be a course. You need to understand the art of oratory. You need to understand that communication is almost as important as what you are communicating. Yeah, Cicero was written over 2,000 years ago. It is still the oratory textbook that is provided in colleges today, and for good reason. For good reason. So, yeah, a lot of specialist stuff is going to be in the last 12 courses, and this is just for those who want the extra. It's going to be everything about debate, basically how you own someone with data sets. It's the only way. If you plan on living a future where you're going to be entertaining debates, where you're going to have maybe even you're going to do study groups and you're going to challenge the crowd, all the people, man, to debate or to ask penetrating questions to try to stump you, whatever, you're going to need to understand these techniques and these tools. You're going to need this information, because data sets are the core fundamental that will overturn anything. It does not matter how many millions of dollars an organization will throw at you. As long as you have a voice, as long as you are able to speak, there is no way that anything can overturn a data set. Everything is just rhetoric. When you understand the difference between rhetoric and data, what you can do is going to be amazing. Let me show you all these techniques, all this stuff. You guys are going to see it. I promise you, you're going to see it. Someone, sooner or later, they're going to get that alcohol in their system. Here it is. They're going to get that alcohol in their system, and they're going to do something real dumb. And they're going to call me out. And you guys are going to see a whole different level of oratory. I told you guys many times in my presentations, I am at best when I am under pressure, and I have not been under pressure yet. No one's done that yet. I haven't had anybody call me out. Nobody's met any of my debate challenges. But when they do, you're going to see a different individual. My syntax, my grammar will change. My pronunciation on my words will change completely. You're going to see a whole different Jason. You're going to see a collegiate Jason. You're gonna see a Jason who is there to educate with core data and not entertain a single ounce of rhetoric and call it out when I hear it. That's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I'm ready for it, guys. I'm ready for it. These people need to come to the table. So as a community, we can get this chronology right so they can understand how their own theories can still survive, but they got to get this chronology right because I'm not going to let it go. Simply, I didn't spend my entire life putting together a chronology of the world packed with so much data and so many source materials to be ignored. That's not who I am. It's not going to happen. Yeah, they're going to get this Atlantis stuff down pat, and they're going to get this Anunnaki dating right. Quit talking about this ancient aliens crap. That's right, Brock Lucas. It's exactly what it is. People want. I know. I get up in my feelings sometimes, and I call them acadummies because some of the conclusions are just so ridiculous or stupid. Like 60 different ice age theories. There's only one. If there was an ice age, there was one ice age at a time. Why do you have 60 different theories as to how it happened? I've already broke that down to you guys because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It never happened ever. So glaciations are not ice ages. In the maps, we have proved that. We've already been through all that. But academia does bring its value, the critical thinking. The only problem I have with scholars today is the fact that our educational establishments have compartmentalized the acquisition of information to the degree that there's no more communication between fields. And a paleobotanist no longer knows what a geologist is finding. And without that type of crossover and communication, there is a loss of knowledge, not an acquisition. Yeah. This rigid, stringent compartmentalization has completely killed cross-disciplinary research. So that's the value of archaics as well. In archaics, you're going to get that cross-disciplinary research. We're going to pull the accurate data from all the different fields, and we're going to eliminate the bad information. All right, let's see. I'm just looking for a question. Oh, it was a hunger pain. That was a hunger pain. I normally eat real healthy, but I'm hoping somebody's listening right now and is going to order a big old fat hamburger and French fries because I deserved it. I deserve it right now. Thank you, George. What's that? Abdul Noor? I've seen you quite a bit lately. Acadummies. Jamie. I'm looking for a question. Maybe there's not a lot. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even put the link to Chronicon. I'll do that. I'll put the link to Chronicon, and I haven't put the link to Chronicon or all my charts, my chart packs that show all this stuff. I haven't done that in a long time in any of my videos. If y'all want me to, I'll put them in this video. After the video's over, I'll put the link to order a Chronicon or any of my chart packs. We can do that. Because I got a really good community. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. I got an awesome community. We look out for each other. Even off of YouTube. So much networking, so much communication. I appreciate it. And y'all remember there's people out there, man, that are up to no good. Remember that. Remember, I'm not on Instagram. Remember, I'm not on Facebook. Those are fake accounts. They have stolen my identity. They're using my pictures. They're using my name. Those are not me. So don't send me emails because you fell for that old, nobody else is falling for the WhatsApp deal. So why do you? When you see the little WhatsApp guy appearing on YouTube, it's a bot. That's a bot. Yeah. And believe me, listen, I'm not Billy Carson. I'm not trying to sell you any type of information on crypto, on how to invest your crypto. I'm not doing any of that shit at all. Hey, thank you. Is there like a hamburger and French fries in my future?
Well, I'll make sure we get some.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I will never, because that's what the WhatsApp is doing, asking people to invest in crypto. I will never solicit you for anything. So just remember, guys, that dude on Instagram, he's got a lot of followers because people think he's me. The dude on Facebook, he's starting to get a bunch of followers because people think he's me. It's not me. And some bastard even is now stolen my dad's identity and is pretending to be my dad contacting people. Yeah, that's not my dad. Thank you, India. So, Nanny Boo Boo, we will come to Colorado. We will come to Colorado. I don't know what you're talking about. Carol Zone, what is the story about the recently found book deleted from the Bible? Do you know about it? I haven't heard that one yet. Lately, I've been deep off into this book from 1897. I'm not on YouTube a lot. First of all, I'm on YouTube all the time, but it's background. All I'm doing is just playing videos in the background. There's videos going on in the background. It's all it is. It's while I'm doing other things, I'll listen to videos and stuff. But other than that, I'm not really researching anything. You can hit that like button too. I know I don't have that many haters. But yeah, it's John Matthews, question: will elderly people who are alive at the return of the vapor canopy be alive at the return of the capstone? Okay, in the year 2046, which will be about 5.5, 6 years after the return of the vapor canopy, in the year 2046, time as we know it is going to collapse. This is the true end of the Mayan long count. How do we know this? Because the Mayan long count was 13 backtons of 144,000 days each. It was a day count system, just like the Sumerian Shar count system was originally, just like the original Vedic Yuga system was all day count system. So the Maya divided all their backtons by 360 days, not 365. Modern day academies applied the modern day year of 365.24 and divided the backtons by that number to produce an entire Mayan long count that was 5,125 years. But the Maya never recognized a 5,125 year period, but they did recognize a 52 century period. 52 centuries of 360 days a year is precisely 1,872,000 days. 1,872,000 days divided by 13 is precisely 400 years that are 13 epochs of 400 years each. Each 400-year period is exactly 144,000 days. The Mayan long count system is the same system that was developed before the flood in the vapor canopy period. All calendars from the vapor canopy world are day count systems. They counted the turnings of the stars around the eye of Draconis. That was a day. It's found in Genesis. In the evening and the morning was the first day. The very first timekeeping system found in Scripture was the day count system. It's the only system that we had back then. So 2046 is the end of this 1,872,000 days. According to Mayan prophecy, time will collapse and there will be an invasion of demons from the underworld. This is the end. Did that happen in 2012? Hell no. Instead, we had like 200 authors all putting out fear porn about the year 2012. Hollywood put out a huge movie about 2012 into the world. Everybody was in on it. I believe Graham Hancock was in on it, wasn't he? On the 2012 dating. And then he's like the only author that survived. Everybody else collapsed because nothing happened. Nothing happened. But Jason of Archaics had a book published in 2011 based off research done in 2009 that was telling everybody that all these guys are wrong. Nothing is going to happen in 2012 because it's not the end of the Mayan long count. So, anyway, to answer your question, John Matthews, in 2046, time will collapse. The book of Revelation is very clear as to what's going to happen. 1/3 of the sun, 1/3 of the moon, 1/3 of the day, 1/3 of the night, 1/3 of the stars. will be reduced by a third. This means that the day will no longer be 24 hours. It will be 16 hours. That's a quickening. That means the sky sim is going to move faster. That's going to change human biology even more. Also, the year is not going to be 365 days anymore. It's going to be abbreviated by a third. What's that, 243 days? A 243-day year now? 242.5 or something like that? Yeah, that means everything's going to be moving much faster. That means an additional change to human biology on top of what's already happening to humans because of the return of the vapor canopy, increased atmospheric pressure, ultraviolet radiation, ambient radiation, all these changes. So, will elderly people who are alive at the return of the vapor canopy be alive at the return of the capstone? No. I'm going to tell you why. Because 2046 is still 60 years away from 2106 AD. That's still a 60-year period, even though the scripture is very, very insistent that everything is reduced to a third. So in actual time that is experienced by us, 60 years becomes 40 years. So anybody who is alive in 2046 is still going to age 40 more years before the total end of the calendar. 2106 AD, the return of the chief cornerstone, Battle of Armageddon, all that stuff that's supposed to unfold in this great war. So this is done according to scripture to keep them from the evil to come. It specifically says in scripture that time in the tribulation period, which we're not in right now, we're in the apocalypse period, which is the unveiling, when the human family is told the truth about everything and you're given a choice as to what you want to believe. That's what the apocalypse is about. That's what's happening right now. All the truth is out there, but the demiurge, Yaldabaoth, is also making sure that thousands of other things are put out there too. So you got to cherry pick what you want to believe. Man, is this true? Is that true? Yeah. The apocalypse is about the unveiling, so you'll know the truth. But the deceiver, the arch deceiver, is also putting his versions of the truth out there. So it still takes the spirit of discerning. It still takes the highly individualized soul to be attached to source in order to navigate what is essentially exactly what Alex Jones promotes. This is an info war, not an actual war. Just like I've been telling you for years right here on my channel, this is a perceived experience, not an actual experience. So I hope that answered your question. It's a 40-year period because of the abbreviation, and scripture even says the abbreviation is necessary because if time wasn't shortened, this is what scripture says, had time not be shortened, then no flesh would be saved. So it's an act of mercy. Abbreviating the final 60 years of this calendar is an act of mercy from the oversoul, taking 20 years totally away. So more people will survive. But also in Revelation, it also reveals that the dragon becomes enraged because he sees his time is cut short. This is the exact things that were unfolding in the pre-flood world as well. In the pre-flood world, we find that the traditions before the flood are very consistent. And there was chaos, violence, all kinds of upheavals, everything. It was like the world knew it was about to be destroyed in the great flood. And so for about a 60, 70-year period before the flood, there was all kinds of civil wars, unrest, national wars, all kinds of things were going off before the flood. It's like the world was destroying itself before the world was actually destroyed and reset. So, yeah. Hope that answers your question. Probably gave you more details than you were looking for. Okay, Sonia K. All the emails have been registered. All of them that have been sent, and all 4 of our emails. Yeah. That's right, Pat S. You ever see any post anywhere of me asking for money? It's not me. Somebody's scamming you. Yeah, the donations that we take, you guys already know, we give away so much free materials. You know, sometimes those donations are really necessary because we get people hitting us up all the time talking about, man, look, man, I'm fascinated with this and this and this. I can't afford these chart packs or whatever. Man, Don will tell you we've sent so much free stuff out, and we will continue to do so because we keep getting good donations from good people. Got to pay that. You got to pay it forward, guys. Yeah. If I was in it for the money, believe me, there'd be a whole different way to do all this. I don't have any ads breaking up my content. Let's see. Yeah, it's 2 hours. I just got in from the hospital with her today. I still wanted to get this video out. Tomorrow, I will be watching Billy Carson and Matt LaCroix in their damage control mode. I'll be taking my notes. I will record that video on my software. And the following day, you guys are going to get the business. You guys are going to get the business because Billy's in the spotlight now. So you guys are going to get the business. And then we'll take a day off. I'm going to be putting together my Archaics Academy syllabus. And then, hello, Chris and Steve. I think we plan to see y'all this year, our North Carolina friends. So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be exciting. The day after that, I'm doing my live about it all. And then the day after that, Saturday, going to chill. I got Archaics Academy to put together. And then Sunday, it's going down because we're going to be talking about the curse of Merodach Baladan I, 1320 AD. We're going to be talking about the Babylonian memories of Tiamat, what they really knew, and how that information crept into the book of Genesis. That's what we're going to be talking about. Till then, I love you guys. I'm going to hit this awesome outro. And I'm sorry this video just took off on different things. I ran my mouth. I'm sorry. We didn't really get a whole lot done on Chronicon. But it's okay. It was a freestyle video. Until next time, I got hamburger and french fries on my mind. I'm going to eat bad today.